Greetings, YouTube, and welcome to the Blue Corner, and it's Banlist time. Oh my god, it's finally here, and the date is unfortunately not one that works for me, as I have a regional tomorrow, and I was really hoping we would have gotten this announced a couple weeks ago, and then this would be in effect for this week, because I really don't want to play a regional in this format, but I've already gone to the trouble of acquiring cards, so fuck it, we're committed. I don't know if I can take this one seriously, and I might just say fuck it and play a meme deck or something like. Maybe I will actually play Mikanko at this, even though, ideally speaking, that deck's better next format rather than this one, just because of some of the things that are happening. But regardless, yeah, let's get into this. This is a pretty big list for a Mayban list. Normally, Konami makes these lists just a lot smaller than they usually are, like one ban and then a couple limits, and then says, there's your Nats format. But this, here we go. So, bans Cyberstein, Scarecrow, Diabolosis, a Pointer, and Expulsion. All these are good. Stein was ever used for bullshit. Diabolosis should have been banned before Cashier came out. Banning it and leaving the rest of the deck alone would not have hurt it in any significant way. But now that this guy is gone, I don't have to pick up a second Zeus anymore, and I think a lot of people share that sentiment. A Pointer had basically become a second Dust Shoot, and yeah, banning it's fine. Expulsion, probably the best way to deal with the Puppet Lock right now without actually killing Puppet. As well, Brandon can still puppet. The way they have to do so is a lot weaker because the thing about what made Expulsion so strong is that you could summon from Banish, which meant like if a branded player could set it up right, they could give it puppet through a lot of hand traps. With Expulsion gone though, they have to go with the Albion Fusion, and that route leaves you open to Bestials, DD Crow, and Ghost Bell on top of all the other hand traps that hurt the deck. So you're now trying to power through Ash plus other hand traps and trying to resolve the puppet lock through the hand traps that your opponent will likely be siding in. So while the granted deck can still puppet lock, it's become significantly harder to do so. All in all, pretty good hits. I would have liked to see some other stuff on here, but for a pre-Nats list, we'll take what we can get. I expect stuff to them to murder some more stuff when we get closer to the Duelist Nexus format. Then for the limits, we got Blaster, Mathmech Circular, Cyframe Gear Gamma, Denglong, Cashier Riseheart, Purely Delicious Memory, and Naturia Sacred Tree. So Blaster coming back is literally going to do nothing. The Dragon Lures at this point, you can honestly bring them all back to 1, and I think it'd be fine. Redox is still the most sus of the bunch, but I can't really think of very many Earth decks that would really abuse this outside of Earth Machine and Madolche, and let's be honest here, those decks aren't actually that good, it's just their pilots that are good. And then Tidal, yeah, that's also kind of sus, but like Atlanteans are far past the point of being able to do a lot of bullshit with one title. Circular, I think we all know who's truly happy about this limit. And for good reason. Circular was a dumb card. It did a lot for what it was. There's a card that honestly should have been limited or banned alongside it that's not on here that I will talk about in a bit. But yeah, Circular just enabled a lot of stupid shit, and this is a good hit. Like, Cybers can once again be more than just combo pile, as there are actually other Cybers decks than Mathmech that play a little bit differently than it. I know it's saying a lot because a lot of Cybers decks still play the same way with similar cards, but there is a difference between, say, Mathmech and Marincess and Code Talker. Then Gamma, kind of unfortunate to see this one, but it was getting to the point where people were playing Gamma, but that was the format we were in. But Gamma was started to become a Call by the Grave that also gave you a Barone, which, well, given a normal Call by the Grave is at 1, we obviously can't have that happening. But putting it to 1, I think, effectively bans it, because are you really going to play 1 Gamma plus the brick? I don't think so. But Gamma being gone means that now decks that are weak to cards like Droll and Lockbird are going to have to side Crossout and Call by for, which brings me to a point I was going to mention before. Super Heavy Samurai being effectively neutered on this list. Like, I don't know the deck myself, but a lot of people are saying that Scarecrow being banned effectively kills it. And if Samurai are gone from the format. That means Droll will likely be gone from the main deck in the format. We'll see if people will still play it only for purely. But Droll being relegated aside means that the decks that I play, namely, right now, you guys know I'm on that McConco Copium. This helps a lot because then I can play multiple copies of Preparation of Rites in the main and not feel bad about getting Droll. Because it was getting to that point where I was at one copy of Preparation of Rites just to have it, but being really hesitant to play it because if I go prep into Ohime and they Droll, my turn basically ends. So at least post-siding I can prep for it. Danglong is going to do nothing. A lot of times past, Sword Soul's a deck from 2020, 2022, trying to compete in 2023. I mean, obviously Sword Soul's still good. It's getting regional tops, but they have to go out of their way to make this work, and they're just not going to. And the other decks that would play Danglong aren't very good. Arise Heart, this card's gonna get banned at some point, but this is the first step towards it. Not much to really say here. Arise Heart being limited, I don't think is going to be enough. The deck is still very much playable. You can still do things like Fenrir control. Purely Delicious Memory, that's the one that allows the deck to attack multiple times in OTK, so that's a good hit. And the Tree of Sacred Tree makes me so happy because I utterly despise Nat Runic. And I know the casuals are like, oh my god, no, they hit my tree. Why did they do this? My deck didn't do anything wrong. It's Runic's fault. They shouldn't have done that. No, fuck this card. Sacred Tree not being a once per turn is what caused it to get hit because the fact you could discard it, foolish it, and just get it to the graveyard by any means, even randomly milling it, and getting a non-once per turn search for your stupid cards like Camilla and Mole Cricket was not okay. Putting it to 1 allows the Naturia engine to play fair, because Nat Runic was probably the build of Runic that I hated the most because of the fact that its turns took even longer than combo turns to play through. Yeah, it was like that, especially when they're resolving multiple sacred trees. Get a search, do this, activate Runic card, do this. No. So I'm glad that this got hit because Nats are now a more fair engine. On to the semi-limits. So Herald of Orange Light, Cashier, Unicorn, Lightning Storm, Runic Fountain, Skystriker Engage, and Sprite Starter. So I'm going to talk about the card now that wasn't touched, which is Cashier at Birth. I've been of the opinion that Birth is probably one of the best cards in the deck, as being able to get free level 7 summons, freely recur your monsters, and banish 3 from the graveyard for a super rare was it's just too fucking much. It's like circular in that regard. And I'm of the opinion that Birth should have been limited or banned to really bring Kashtira in. The fact that it's not, and that the worst that's happened to them is Unicorn to 2, oh no, and a Rise Heart to 1, oh no, means that the deck is still very much playable, in my opinion. I'll be gladly proven wrong, however. Lightning Storm is a buff to back row decks and a slight nerf to Blind Second. Runic Fountain is a slight hit to Runic, but otherwise, I think the deck is still very much playable. And Sky Striker to Engage is actually pretty long overdue. I honestly think this card can come back to a good while ago, and I don't think it would have done too much because Striker, for one thing, Striker's a deck from 5 years ago, so a lot's happened since then. And the old Sky Striker deck, the one that would play first, activate multiple engages, set back row and blah blah blah. That just doesn't work anymore because the game is too fast and that type of striker is too slow. The best results we've seen from Striker post Mystic Mind ban have been as a blind second board break OTK type deck, and I think that's going to be the optimal way to play it. And another engage will improve its consistency, but I don't think it's going to be enough to catapult it into tier 1. Striker Runic might see some more play as the two engines do kind of work together, but that's just not my flavor, so I have no comment on it. And Starter is the only hit Sprite got on this ban list, which means they're still very much tier 1. Like, the deck has been good, and it still is. And as the other decks around it have gotten weaker, it itself becomes closer to their power level, and Sprite may very well be one of the best decks in the format. And Herald of the Orange Light going to 2 is not going to do anything because the Ishizu cards are all at 1. It is a nice little boost for Drytron, however, which, I own, so I'm quite okay with this. Then to the threes. Blackwing Steam the Cloak, Genix Ally Birdman, Samsara Lotus, Spiral Quick Fix, Recital Starling, Draco Fake Love, and Multi-Roll. So, of these that actually matter, I'm going to say Face Off. And maybe Birdman, but probably not really. So Face Off was obviously a very good card, and this helps Draco Slayer a lot. We'll see what the TCG can do with that. Steam the Cloak. The cards that made it stupid are gone, so it's fine. Birdman, it's been over 10 years since this card was at 1. A lot's happened. Maybe they'll do something just because it's not a hard once per turn, but realistically speaking, I don't think it's really going to matter. Samsara Lotus probably is not going to matter. Quick Fix, as long as Master Plan is banned, or is it Resort? I forget what Spiral card's banned, but like this isn't going to be enough to fix Spiral. Starling the 2 didn't do anything, so that's not going to matter. And Multi-Roll, it's nice to have in the multiples, but like I said before, I think that Striker works best as a blind second, and I don't think you would actually play more than one multi-roll. Maybe 2, but you never played 3. So putting at the 3 is effectively the same as putting at the 2 because you'd never play more of it. And like I said, I don't think it does anything. It doesn't really help the going second build any more than it already did. So it's literally whatever. Like Engage the 2 helps more than that. And I honestly could see Engage going to 3 over the course of the next year and a half. Like, is that the hot take? Possibly, but it could happen. It could happen. On that note, I just seeing this though makes me think of that manga that I had actually read that manga not that long ago. Pretty good read, but there's a panel from that I'm gonna definitely have to use as a thumbnail. It's Rose getting super excited over seeing a handheld. It's the most adorable thing, and yeah, that will be my thumbnail because I know how much people quote unquote love Striker. And yeah, let the memes come out, I know. But in all in all, though, this is a pretty good list for what Konami releases at this time of year. Because normally, these lists, like I said before, going to nationals are either minimal or whatever. This is not minimal. This is actually a significant amount of hits. So I'm glad to see that they at least took some steps. Very surprised that they reined in Super Heavy Samurai and Purely to an extent on the latter part. And what else was there to say? Casuals will be upset because their pet decks got hit or stuff didn't get unhit, blah, 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 blah. But this is probably one of the better lists we have gotten for quite some time. And I would say it's definitely a better list than the one we got earlier. I'm trying to remember how that February ban list was because I remember not being all that impressed with it. They murdered tier limits, but then that was really it. But in any case, that's all I got for this. Comment down below on what you're doing for this format. For me, I mean, with this list, like I said before, Droll will see a less main deck play, so I can actually get away with playing things like Mikanko or Drytron or Libermancer. Mikanko Libermancer actually gets a little bit better now, but I don't know if it's still worth it to play that over. Well, I mean, I guess if decks that were considered worse Super Heavy Samurai could now see played now that Super Heavy Samurai is gone. I guess Manadia might actually do something now because with Super Heavy Samurai being gone, it falls on them to be the combo decks. Interesting. In any case, yeah, that's all I got for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Until next time, this is Boo Star 89. Jack.